Hello, welcome to today's class. We're going to learn about the continent of Australia, and it is a fascinating continent right down here. So it's known as the land down under because it is south of the equator. The equator cuts the globe in half. And this is a picture of Australia. We have Queensland over here, Northern Territory on the west side of the continent is Western Australia. South Australia. In the blue, we have New South Wales, Victoria, and even Tasmania. And please say the word wombat. Yeah, look at this. This is a wombat. Have you ever seen a wombat before? Now, he's kind of bigger than he looks in this picture. He's about the size of a kind of a medium dog, but he has fancy poop. His poop comes out in the shape of cubes, and he will poop 100 poops a day. Now, Australia, where this animal likes to live, he lives where it's pretty nice and warm, kind of semi-arid, temperate in the south and east, and it is tropical in the north. So it's beautiful for the vegetation and lots of flowers. And it's mostly plateau with desert in the majority of it. So it does have some deserts in a good portion of it, but it also has really nice warm places. But look at this. This right here is a Tasmanian devil. And I kind of think he has magic ears. When he gets angry, his ears turn red. So that lets you know that we need to stay away from him because he's got a strong bite force. And there you see him attacking that kangaroo. There are more kangaroos than humans in Australia. And we'll learn a little bit more about that. But this is what their flag looks like. And this is the Union Jack. Can you say Union Jack? And that's the flag of the United Kingdom. And that's in the upper left corner. Has a 7-pointed star. And that represents the country's states and territories. And then there's 5 stars to represent the Southern Cross constellation. And that's visible from the Southern Hemisphere. And constellations are like a group of stars. But those kangaroos, remember I said there's more kangaroos than humans? Now they're kind of seen as a pest, not a pet, a pest, where people don't really like them. Can I get a thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no? Do you like kangaroos? Oh, I'll tell you what, they are strong. And they are marsupials, just like the koala bear that you're going to learn about. And they have those baby joeys that climb up into the mother's pouch. And the mom, she can, if she's pregnant and still needs to let that joey grow, she'll just kind of like stop being pregnant for a little bit and then let that joey grow. And then she starts being able to finish letting the other baby grow. It's kind of like a magic belly. So Australia is extra special because it's both a country and a continent. And it is the largest island in the Southern Hemisphere. And an island has water all the way around it. And in the Southern Hemisphere, I'm sorry, it's in the Southern Hemisphere, the lower part past the equator. And it's surrounded by both the Indian and the Pacific Ocean, but it has some fascinating creatures. It has those Tasmanian devil, emus, ostriches, koalas, kangaroos, and many more. A lot of unique animals down there. So if you ever get to go there, you're going to see some animals that are pretty cool. And like I said, it's known as the land down under. But the seasons are the opposite of the Northern Hemisphere. So if you live in Canada or North America, Europe or Asia, their Christmas in Australia is different. And their winters are different. So even if you don't celebrate Christmas, their winters are during the summer months. And that's their toilets even flush different than ours. And it's cool too with a narwhal. Narwhals, you can tell if they're from the northern part above the equator or the southern part, because narwhals in the northern hemisphere above the equator, their tusks grow clockwise. But down in the southern hemisphere, past Australia, their tusks, which is a big front tooth, it's their left front tooth, and it'll grow counterclockwise, the opposite way. And they love to do arts and crafts. And let me make this a little bit bigger for you. So there's lots of different activities going on. A lot of tourists get to go there to visit. I almost got to go there. But it's also known as the Outback. And this is Ayers Rock. This is Ayers Rock. So it can be pretty average temperature. If you do Celsius, it's 6.5 to 19.7 degrees Celsius. And Canberra has warm, dry summers, chilly winters with heavy fog and frequent frost. And it was established back in 1913 as the capital of Australia. And before then, there was a rivalry. Can you say rivalry? Yeah, it's kind of like an argument or a fight between Sydney and Melbourne. And those are some cities there. And they wanted to be the national capital of the newly federated Australia. So right here, the Canberra is located southwest of Sydney and northeast of Melbourne. And that's their capital. They got some different landmarks that make it extra special. They have a museum, war memorials, and all different kinds of things to do. And it's also the largest inland city, 8th largest city overall. But Australia, home to more kangaroos and people. It's got those koalas and all different cities like Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide. And can you say good day, mate? Yeah, that's how they say hi to each other. Good day, mate. And there are over, what do you think, more or less than 100 beaches for people to enjoy? There are 10,000 beaches. So many of the native plants and animals that are in Australia can only be found in Australia, because remember, there's all those oceans, and it is home to the biggest living thing on the planet, the Great Barrier Reef. And this is what the Great Barrier Reef is. It's a collection of sea creatures, and it kind of forms like a ground. So inside that Great Barrier Reef, there are 1,625 types of fish. And what do you think? Yes or no? Do you think any sharks like to go there? Yeah, there are 133 types of sharks and stingrays that live in this Great Barrier Reef. And right here, you can see some soft coral. Some coral is soft, some is hard. And what do you think? Is there more or less than 100 types of coral? I'll tell you what, there's 650 different types. And here we can see different, right here, different countries. We have Italy, Japan, Germany, Malaysia, and that's how big they are. Right here, the kind of fuzzy looking part, that's the Great Barrier Reef. So it's large. Even look, you see Australia there. So the Great Barrier Reef is as big as 70 million football fields. Super huge. But we got to take care of them, because you see this creature right here? That's the crown of thorns starfish. And he is venomous. Do not touch him. Otherwise you'll be you can have some paralysis where you can't move very well. And then also it really hurts and makes you nauseous, where you just don't feel nauseated, where you just don't feel good. And he is just crawling all over that coral and just trying to eat it up. And the thing about the starfish is they can regenerate. If they lose an arm, a new arm will grow back. Also, the girls, this is kind of silly. The girls can split in half and become 2 boys. And then those boys, when they get bigger, turn into girls. So it's like a magic animal. And what's your guess? Does a mom lay more or less than 100 eggs a year or season? She lays 60 million eggs every season. And the Great Barrier Reef, do you think you can see it from outer space? Yeah, that's the only natural structure that you can see from outer space. And the full-grown coral, it eats the baby coral. But we got to watch out if we cut ourselves on coral and we don't clean out our boo-boos, the coral can grow inside our skin. So we got to make sure we take those living creatures out. So this crown of thorns starfish that's crawling all over the Great Barrier Reef, he is responsible for 45% of the destruction. And we got to make sure that this is a safe area. So all the creatures that live down there have a safe habitat. Now, the Great Barrier Reef can only live in water 68 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. So it's nice and warm there, almost the same temperature as our houses. And this is kind of a cool fact. Here's that crown of thorns. Look at him just crawling around. So yeah, starfish can crawl. And the reef's origin dates back to the last ice age. And what do you think? Yes or no? Are we allowed to take coral from the barrier reef? Oh, we better not, because it's illegal. So there are some giant clams that live inside this Great Barrier Reef. And there was a pearl from a giant clam that sold for, what do you think, more than $1,000? $10 million for a pearl. That's how large those clams were, that have that big of a pearl. And even in April 4th of 2010, sometimes some boats will kind of hit the barrier reef. So there was a Chinese cargo ship that hit a portion of this Great Barrier Reef and caused a 2-ton oil leak. So not only do we have this crown of thorns starfish destroying the area, there's also accidental oil leaks, and animals just can't live healthy in that way. And please say Aborigine. Yeah, an Aborigine is a type of person. So the Aboriginal people arrived in Australia about 50,000 years ago. And a lot of people believe that they traveled from Asia across land bridges that were exposed when the sea levels were lower. So when the water wasn't getting in their way, they were able to cross using the land that wasn't underwater. So these Aborigines have learned to live in the harsh conditions of the outback. So there you see the outback. Do you see any houses here? No, they had to make do. There's not a lot of plants. Like I don't see any carrots or corn, and I don't even see animals. They'd have to go hunting. So Dutch explorers first landed in Australia in 1606, and the British people, they began to settle there in 1788. But many settlers were criminals sent to live in Australia as punishment because they didn't want them staying on their continent. So they sent them to that island. So for a short time, these newcomers, the Aborigines, lived peacefully, but soon fighting broke out because they wanted to take over and own the land. So there's lots of different kinds of people, different ethnicities, and nearly a quarter of the people who live there were born in other countries. So they had to travel across oceans to get there. Most of the people come from United Kingdom or other European countries, also from China, Vietnam, North Africa, and the Middle East. Not too many Americans over there, but my friend's American and she moved to Australia. So Australia is nice, warm, and sunny, lots of open spaces. So people love outdoor sports, and they also love swimming, because remember that it's surrounded by oceans. They like to sail, surf, even on land they'll do some tennis, soccer, a game called cricket. There's another game called rugby. And look at this guy, what? He's kicking a football. And a lot of other countries other than the United States, football in America, we have these footballs that we hold, and football in other countries is really soccer. So this is kind of a mix, and it's like an Australian ruled football. So it's a little bit different game. So great job today, and let me know some of the things you like about Australia. I love that Great Barrier Reef and all the different animals that live inside. So great job, and I hope to see you soon. Have a good day. See you next time. Bye.